Well, we have lots of customers in automotive, and we saw that Eclipse was getting a lot more traction. We saw that the ISCO project was kicking off, and some of what we've been doing over the last few years relates directly to safety critical of open source, and we've been contemplating how and when we would go open with that work, and the stars kind of aligned, so it seemed like a logical time to bring it forward. So that's why we engaged last year. I would start by saying that I find it absolutely astonishing that safety, human safety, is treated with standards which are proprietary. We're in a world where open source has come to really change the world for the better in terms of encouraging more collaboration between organizations and increasing the pace of innovation. But safety is kind of the last area, it feels to me, where proprietary standards and proprietary technologies seem to have a lock on everything. So part of our aim is to democratize and open the process of thinking about safety. And the Trustable Software Framework is our basis for that. It provides a way to map the problem, not just for safety, but also for security and for other factors that will be important in critical systems. And the key point is it's been devised from the ground up to be open. It does not rely on any of the standards. And the aim over time is to demonstrate that it is possible to achieve safety via the Trustable Software Framework and show that the outputs of that can sensibly be mapped to existing standards. So it's an attempt to change things. It's aiming to break the door open. Agile's not really modern, I have to say. In '96, those guys got together and created the Agile Manifesto. I would say that it's really more complicated than that. The Waterfall was never really Waterfall, so people are always going round loops even in Waterfall environments. Agile is not entirely chaotic, so you can see that there's overlap already between the methods. The key kind of perspective that we're starting from is that we have a great trust in and confidence in open source already. Most software these days is either developed via open source techniques or via Agile, or both. Waterfall, I would say, arguably has become a discredited or at least obsoleted way of thinking about software. Most of the innovators these days are not thinking Agile, right? Are not thinking Waterfall. So our approach is to recognize the reality of the world we're in, that most software is not constructed via a Waterfall method, and attempt to measure how we can be confident in software that's produced in that style kind of thing. Rather than surrendering and saying, oh well, instead of using all the software that exists and is proven in use in effect, we should rewrite it all with the V model, which seems ridiculous to me. First of all, the Trustable Software Framework is not really a process as such. It's more a set of things that we're trying to measure and a map of the territory. So for organizations or projects that already have maturity and know inherently why their software is fit for its purpose, what we're really doing is providing a way of representing the results of that work. So it's more about giving a basis for measuring things. And our hope is that means that established projects, for example, some of the major open source projects that people are so interested in, could be measured without trying to overhaul or completely change the way that those projects have become successful. So it's aiming to reduce the friction. Well, it's open source, so people can find the source code themselves, they can find the documentation. Obviously, it's an active project, and it's also relatively new. Certainly, it's new in the open. So we're expecting to continue to enhance it and benefit from the feedback that we'll get from the community. So over time, we will obviously be actively supporting community members as they approach us and trying to get them interested in both the Trustable Software Framework, but also applying it to their projects. So.